Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Friday, November 3rd, 2023, and one of the top stories this evening is appeals court freezes gag order against Trump. And if you read this story, they're going to have to appear in court regarding this matter on November 20th. And whose birthday is it on November 20th? Of course, it's Joe Biden, and he'll turn 81 years old. And he supposedly got those 81 million votes. And he's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is on Interstate 81. And again, 81 is this monumental number. A sports buff might be like, isn't that how many points Kobe Bryant scored in his 666th career game? And yes, it is. Kobe had his career high 81 in his 666th game. Once upon a time, Obama endorsed 81 candidates for office on August 1st. And when Trump appears in court on November 20th, he'll be before judges that were appointed by Obama. And again, Trump replaced Obama, and Obama took office with Joe Biden, and Obama was a one-term senator and the first darker-complected U.S. president in the nation. And I just use that phrase because people get offended by everything. I just mean, he was unique in terms of race. But you had Joe Biden, who took the Oval Office with Obama, one-term senator, and then he took office with the first darker-complected woman as well, who was also a one-term senator, who has a lot of parallels to Obama. But anyway, these cast of characters, they are all on puppet strings, and if you just learn this little simple code that we educate about day after day, you can see how perfect these rituals are. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the judge who had issued this gag order that got frozen tonight, but again, it'll be brought back up on November 20th on Biden's birthday. We're going to look at this judge who issued the gag order and how the day in court, November 20th, how it just reveals how perfect this ritual is and that it's truly a ritual. Again, this is what we're educating about on this channel, how rituals are being performed by people in elected office day after day to give us this show like there's some kind of legitimacy to our government, which there's not. Our federal government is illegitimate. It is based on lies. It is tyranny. It's taxation without representation. It's one contrived ordeal after the next, order out of chaos. And again, you just learned this little code that we've been educating about every single day. I've been here for every single day for over a decade now, showing how stories just like this unfold every day and why they did it on this day and what's today's ritual. Why is this person's card up today? We're even going to get to Donald Trump and tarot cards and how perfect this is. But look at this. If you're new here, Gematria, I learned about this in Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And the word's actually pronounced Gematria, but I prefer Gematria because it's like gem. And knowing this is a gem. But I learned about this from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And this first example we're going to start with is the weakest example here. But he teaches you 4 ways that the English language becomes a numerical sequence that's based on this Kabbalistic practice going back to the Hebrew alphabet where every letter is a number. So there's 4 ciphers: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. That just means A is 1 up to Z is 26, or doing it in reverse. Z is 1 back to A is 26. 26 letters in the English alphabet. And then also those 2 orders with numerology. So you see what it looks like. Donald Trump's full name, Donald John Trump, has this gematria of 185 and 68, which is a very special number. And 185 kind of relates to us as humans. We're made out of carbon. 18.5% of the human body's carbon, the most important element in our existence. They say 666 is where the whole carbon thing came from. Remember, 666 is the number of a man, but also the number of a beast. And 68 is just this monumental number. I'd have to do a 10-hour separate video to explain the totality of it all. But again, in 1968, look into that year. World Trade Center construction, 911 made the national emergency dialing code, George W. Bush from Yale, Skull and Bones, Boeing jumbo jetliners debuting. 68 was this huge year where it all came into motion in 9/11, 2001. But also 68, it's the year coronavirus was coined, which was the next 9/11. And it's when fentanyl was approved by the FDA. And these things weren't done by accident in 68. 68's a special number. MLK and RFK assassinated very ritualistically in 68. Again, MLK killed on the 95th day of the year. Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. But anyway, With the reverse alphabetic order in numerology, you can see the judge's name, Tanya Chutkin, is 185 and 68. Words like mathematics and Catholicism are as well, and that's important because the calendar we're on, that this language is synced up with, is after the Catholic Pope. The oldest English script goes back to a Catholic monk, and in the 16th century, this calendar that we're on now that says today is November 3rd, 2023. That calendar rolled out at the same time English was standardized as a 26-letter alphabet. So anyhow, to show you how much more interesting these things get, remember, President Trump and President Biden both equal 72 forwards, 81 in reverse. You know, now Trump, day in court, Biden's 81st birthday. This is over the January 6th, 2021 insurrection. And remember, a year before that election happened, we explained why Biden would be number 46 in the election exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Catholic equals 46, and JFK, the only other Catholic president, was killed at age 46, and the rest of it. And Beau Biden at age 46, where his death fits in. Remember, Joe Biden was 72 when Beau Biden died at age 46, and Joe Biden became senator-elect in 72, and then his wife and daughter died at the end of that year in a car crash. But President Trump, President Biden, both 72 forwards, 81 in reverse. Jesuit order 72. They're both Jesuit educated. And they're both 81 in reverse. And supposedly Biden beat Donald Trump with 81 million votes. 81 million votes, supposedly he got. And in the year before that, Obama was endorsing 81 candidates. I still remember that day like it was yesterday. 81 candidates on August 1st, 8-1. What's the Urban Meyer, the coach that got in trouble at his college? It was a big 81 ritual. There were like 3 big 81 stories that day. Obama was one of them. But I was like, how obvious is this, you guys? Just like how we say all the time, how obvious is this? Anyway, the word ritual equals 81 forwards and backwards. Over the years, we've come to call this the ritual number. Just these high rituals with this number front and center. And then to see how perfect it is with the characters, again, it's Tanya Chutkin, who issued the gag order, born July 5th. It's Donald Trump with the June 14th birthday, which is also the U.S. flag's birthday. Notice how from June 14th to the day in court, Biden's birthday, November 20th, is 159 days. That's from Trump's birthday. And from Chutkin's birthday, July 5th to November 20th, is 138 days. We've talked about these numbers with Donald Trump so many times. Donald Trump's 138 forwards, 159 in reverse. Congress. He used Steve Ray for Inauguration Day, the Nationals announcer. The Nationals won the 115th World Series 138 days after Donald Trump's birthday. You can go back and check the box score. They had 159 pitches. That night, Houston also played D.C. The same teams in the World Series were playing each other in the NBA, and the Rockets won with 159 points back when James Harden was there. But, again, Donald Trump, 138, 159. It's these two, court, in the perfect amount of days, right? And again, if you're new here, I mean, literally, it's been a decade of showing this type of stuff day after day after day. We've been covering this with Donald Trump since he first announced in 2015, the perfect rituals day after day. And Donald Trump's birthday is June 14th, which is the 165th day of the year. Notice how Scottish Rite has these numbers of 165, 159, 78. And you know what? I should show the other value that's not up there because, again, there's 4 values. Scottish Rite is 57 as well. And you see how Georgetown is 57, the nation's first Jesuit university that was established in 1789, a month before George Washington became the first U.S. president in the history books at age 57. And a lot of the original presidents took office at age 57. But the Scottish Rite has their headquarters in Washington, D.C. And again, the rites of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuits. But Trump's birthday is the 165th day of the year. His name, Donald Trump, equals 159 in the same cipher as Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite is also 78. Again, the Jesuits wrote the rites of the Scottish Rite. Jesuit is also 78. But Donald Trump is going to turn 78 this year, this coming year, in 2024. June 14th, 2024, Donald Trump will turn 78 years old. Again, the tarot deck has 78 cards in it. And the top card, the biggest authority, is the Trump card, Donald Trump, tarot cards. Donald Trump of Scottish ancestry. Again, the Scottish Rite, a Jesuit creation. The Jesuits who served the Roman Catholic Church. The oldest remaining tarot deck in the world goes back to Italy. And again, it's this church who through warfare has been purposely destroying other people's cultures and history so that nobody can know the truth about anything except for the information in their archives and what they want people to know. The language they want them to speak, the calendar they want them to be on. You know? Again, this apparatus of the Jesuits is massive. Donald Trump, Jesuit educated. Do I need to take you back to 2020 where everything was 56 and everybody was a Jesuit? And it was 56 years after Trump's Jesuit education began at Fordham in 1964. The spaces on the chessboard, old 64. See how coronavirus has that 56? Trump went to Fordham like Cuomo, the 56th governor of New York, who became like the spokesman for the nation. And then there was Gavin Newsom, the other Jesuit 56 agent, who locked down California. 56% will get coronavirus in 8 weeks, he said. You see the 56, 142, 155? Look at Gavin Newsom, the first governor to lock down his state. 56, 142, 155. Trump declared Operation Warp Speed on the 15th day of the 5th month, the anniversary of Clade X, the first simulation for COVID, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared. Christianity's 155, which teaches about 666. The Mark, the Beast, which makes it a Catholic teaching. And pretty much, no matter what your understanding of Christianity is, all of us in the English-speaking world have this understanding through the Bible. The English Bible, which is the work of the Catholic Church, even though the Protestant Reformation might have tweaked a few things afterwards. So, anyway, think about it, you guys. On 11/3, this is the news, right? And that means that it's 17 days from today. Let's not forget that lesson with Masonry either. The word Mason is 17. The word Freemasonry has the 59. 59 is the 17th prime. Modern Freemasonry was created in 1717. And then 59 years later, this nation was created where the vast majority of the founders were Masons. Freemasonry also has the 139. So does Tanya Chutkin. We talked about how the meeting with Trump in court is 138 days after her birthday. That does also mean it's her 139th day of her age. So Tanya Chutkin facing off with Trump. Notice again how Freemasonry is 139. The word free alone is 34. 139 is the 34th prime number. And America's also got that 139. A nation started by a bunch of Masons in secret society studying occult knowledge, going back to the days of Pythagoras. Did you know that Pythagoras was into the whole letter and number code? That's part of his legacy. Some people wonder if Pythagoras is a real person either, but again, there's still things that are associated with Pythagoras, whether he's real or not, and he's very much celebrated by the Masons. They etch on their temples all his number, but Pythagoras into the whole letters and numbers thing, and in Greek it's called isopsophy, in Hebrew it's Gematria. And to me, it seems appropriate to call it Gematria in English too, because look, Gematria 74, English 74, Occult 74, Masonic 74. Remember when they called the election for Joe Biden, they called the election when it was at 74 million votes. And there's supposedly 7 million more came in, kind of like the Masons logo, which is the G, the seventh letter. But Masonic, again, Occult. A lot of killing was 74. A lot of stabbing was 74. Jewish woman stabbed to death on Netanyahu's 74th birthday in Detroit recently. The Ides of March, remember the stabbing of Caesar on the 74th day of the year. Roman 74, all the Roman architecture in D.C. And the list just goes on and on and on. Remember, the king is 74. On King Charles' 74th birthday this year, it was killing. At the University of Virginia, the Cavaliers, you had 3 football players killed. Cavaliers are those who fought for King Charles in the English Civil War. And then in Kings Road in Moscow, Idaho, pronounced or written the same way as Moscow, Idaho, where the University of Idaho is, you had the children or the college kids stabbed to death on Kings Road. And both those murder stories supposedly happened November 13th, but they didn't break in the news, and both of them broke about the same time. Murders on opposite ends of the nation at college campuses. The stories broke on November 14th, King Charles' 74th birthday. And, London's another 74, going with the whole English thing and modern Freemasonry made in London. George Washington. You see how George Washington's 74? Notice in that same cipher, Jesus Christ is 74. And then just the simple way, Jesus is 74. Messiah 74, Gospel 74, Parables 74. Jesus spoke in parables, riddles. The Gospel's the story of Jesus. All these words are 74, like English, like occult. In Hermeticism, you learn about how everything carries an energy, a vibration that has manipulation and power. That includes language, includes everything, symbols. And the occult have knowledge from years of experience and probably hoarding information all the way back to the time of Babylon about how these numbers impact us. There's a reason they keep doing the same thing over and over. Holiday 74, Independence Day 74. When spelled correctly, let's see, what did I do wrong? Extra D. Independence Day 74. It's also 277, the 59th prime, going with 59 years after modern Freemasonry. At least 7-4. But notice holiday 74, like free, like Roman, like killing like 3 of the first 5 presidents dead on 7-4. Anyway, coming back to this point about Jesus 74 and Jesus Christ 74 and George Washington, the Mason, the first recognized president 74, who takes office the same year the Jesuit University is established, Georgetown, George Washington. I just learned this recently. I still haven't been to Washington, D.C. myself, but I was just watching this thing on the Capitol building, and they showed how up at the very top, there's a mural of George Washington in the clouds, almost like he's Jesus. And then down below the building, there's an open tomb for George Washington, like how there's an open tomb that people can visit in the world for Jesus. And again, that's not the real name. It's Yeshua. They changed it to Jesus. And Jesus has the same gematria as Lucifer, and Lucifer 74 as well, just like Jesus, and they're both referred to as the Morning Star. And Albert Pike, who was a Mason, he shed light on how important Kabbalah is to Freemasonry, where this whole code of letters and numbers comes from, and how, again, Lucifer the light bringer, that's what he's known as. The light is the knowledge in the occult. So Lucifer the light bringer. You could start to see why, at the least, there's an appreciation for these people, and maybe coming in at a lower level on the totem pole. You join this secret society, have brotherhood, and learn information. Maybe you're taught about in this way. It's like, yeah, he's the light bringer, and light is knowledge, and it's a reminder that all things are good and bad. But who knows? Maybe you get to a certain level, and then it's like you're having to do some really bad stuff. And by the way, the word bad itself, like Michael Jackson, he turned bad. He went from Jackson 5 to I'm bad. But bad's another 74 word. Isn't that interesting? Why did they change the name? Why did they change the name? Cursive, cursing, language, spells, spelling. A hidden side to the language that we don't understand. And see, that's the thing too. Part of our slave school system, part of the indoctrination was to dismiss anything like occult or esoteric or ancient world beliefs like Hermeticism. You probably never even really heard the word Hermeticism, but you were already learning to, if you ever did come across Hermeticism, you were learning to disregard something like that. It's ancient, it's dated, we're in the days of science. Ooh, I get you started on science and another set of Freemasonry rituals. Science. You just see how it blows around in the wind these days. 1 mask, 2 masks, no masks. This jab's doing so great. Oh, wait, it's not. Trust the science. But I'm not even going to go down that road right now. Forget it. Forget it. I got to make dinner. Time to make dinner over here. Otherwise, I'll tell you what, I know the science around this house. Ooh, man, if I'm home and I can make dinner and sweet lady comes home and says, you didn't make me dinner. The chemistry's all bad here, so. Anyway, make sure sweet lady's fed. But, yeah, again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And again, the point of knowing this work is so that people can stop investing their time and energy in this highly manipulated system, start speaking out against it. Imagine if the whole world's spending their days letting all these politicians know they've had enough. Phone line won't ever stop ringing. There's 1 billion people on hold. Everyone knows the game now. Okay, I'm done with it. I've been mocked my whole life. See, people need to swallow that pill. That's that Mark Twain thing. It's easier to fool people than convince them they've been fooled. And that's the thing. This system, it fooled us all from a young age. And it's mocking the hell out of us. And we're allowing the world to turn to hell. And it doesn't need to. And it's because these people are doing it. Because they're so greedy. They want so much power, so much control. It's like, oh, that's all that matters to them. And I don't blame the Joe Bidens or the Donald Trumps, really. They were born into this. It's the puppet masters I'm after, this cabal. That's who I'm after. Joe Biden, he's probably been an MK Ultra project since the 60s. Slip him in there in 72. We think we got it all. We got our political Frankenstein here. He's going to go 47 years before we plan to have him as president-elect. And again, you guys, he was senator for 47 years before becoming elected. Again, if you're new here, in Gematria, your 4 ciphers. Here, we'll close out this way. President, 47. White House, 47. Remember, he was the 47th vice president, took office with 47-year-old Obama. Government, 47. Authority, 47. Republican is 47, so is Democrat. And remember, the Whig Party, Whig 47, became the Republican Party thanks to Lincoln, who has that famous speech where he says 77 years ago. And the Masons studied the 47th problem of Euclid, which is about how to establish foundation, like this nation's birthday is the 4th day of the 7th month. And again, all the people in the world who don't want to teach these lessons and help share them, it's like, what's going on? Like, everybody will share Jordan Maxwell's lesson about the parallels with Lincoln and Kennedy and their assassinations and their elections. And that's great because that got passed along to me somewhere along the way, and I didn't hear it from Jordan Maxwell originally. And things like that help you wake up. But it's like the stuff we've been doing, it just complements all that research that ever came before, and it shows the same type of stuff's going on, and you see what they're doing because all of these numbers are used as this code over and over and over. And it all goes back to Masonry and the Jesuits who synced up the calendar and the language and are responsible for this modern brand of Freemasonry. Again, so anyway, latest decode, latest example. Again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And shout out to John Mendoza who chipped in $1. Always generous, John. Thank you again, friend. And until next time, have a good night.